living things. A fundamental way of cutting up reality is that we can divide the things around us in two parts: those things that are living and those things that are not living. So the question arises that how can we differentiate between living things and non-living things? This question has been in the mind of philosophers since the ancient times. So people in the past used to believe that there is some sort of a special vital fluid which is responsible for life. When that fluid is present in a certain body, that person or that body is alive. And when the fluid leaves the body, that person or that body dies. So scientists, as they had claimed that there is that is a special kind of vital fluid, the scientists tried to search such a fluid in the body of a dead that or in the body of a living as well, but they couldn't find anything of that sort. So it led them to that conclusion that there is no physical thing that is responsible for making things alive. So then another concept emerged that if there is nothing that is physical and that is responsible for the existence of life, then people used to believe that something non-physical is might be responsible for life. This non-physical thing was called soul by ancient people. So that is our topic, that how we are going to explain the soul as the explanation of life. Um, as we know, as we have talked about soul, that soul is non-physical thing. We need to define soul. Okay, means the first question that might emerge in someone's mind is that what is soul? So as we have called soul a non-physical thing, we know that we cannot describe it in terms of its structure. We cannot say that soul is composed of this thing or that. As it is non-physical, it has no composition or no structure. So we have to describe soul in terms of its function. Means we can describe soul in functionally. So what is the function of the soul? Soul causes the physical objects to be alive. Means soul is responsible for making a physical thing into a life. So, but this definition is not enough. We need to know more about soul. For that purpose, we have to look on the lives of philosopher or what certain philosophers said about the concept of soul. So we have at first Plato here, who insisted that souls are immaterial or non-physical. So yes. Okay.
No
So he
problem.
insisted that souls are immaterial or non-physical. So for that, we have talked about physical and non-physical a lot of time. So it is important to discuss what do we mean by something physical and something non-physical. We have to define the term physical and non-physical as well. Physical objects have some attributes that are they have mass, weight, shape, color, temperature, and apart from that, there are some physical quantities which overlap with these physical objects in some context. Like we have the equation given by Einstein that E is equal to mc square. Means this shows that energy can be converted into mass, and hence energy is also a physical quantity, although it has no weight, shape, color, or temperature. Means some things are there which can be overlapped with the physical things, and we cannot perceive them. We cannot see them. But when we talk about the soul has none of these attributes. Soul has no mass and it has no weight. We cannot see a soul. We cannot see what kind of color it has. We only know that it is non-physical and it has no explanation in scientific theories. So we can say that soul is purely a non-physical thing. So now, given that we have defined what we mean by physical and non-physical, okay. We are now going to look into the theory of Aristotle, who has given three kinds of souls. Aristotle, who was a pupil of Plato, insisted that souls are responsible to explain life, but he did not see all souls as alike. Means he created a distinction between different kinds of souls. He defined three kinds of souls, that are nutritive souls, sensitive souls, and rational souls. According to him, nutritive souls are those which can carry out only the basic life processes such as growth, nutrition, and reproduction. Then we have sensitive soul, which is more sophisticated kind of soul. And apart from the basic life processes of growth, nutrition, and reproduction, a sensitive soul has some sensations. like it can feel certain sensations and experience certain emotions. Also, sensitive soul can show movement. Okay, then we have rational soul, and rational soul is the we can say the most sophisticated kind of soul, which can, apart from the life processes of growth, nutrition, reproduction, it has reasoning. It can use reasoning to explain certain things. So in the living organisms we see around us, we can divide the we can categorize the plants in the category of nutritive souls, as we can see that it has no sensations. Then in the terms of sensitive soul, we can say that certain animals like dogs and cats are sensitive soul, because when someone hits a dog, it shows it just cries, and we can say that it felt pain. So we can say that sensitive souls are the souls of certain animals, or maybe of all the animals who can experience certain sensations. And then we have rational souls, and we can say that human beings are have the rational souls because they can reason. They have the capacity to reason. And this reasoning allows a human being to do all things which others are not capable of doing. Like we can read a book, we can listen to certain music, we can watch TV, and we can think on a matter which we can say that no other living thing is doing. So okay, so on the basis of what we have studied up till now, we can we can formulate an argument with two premises. That the first one is something is in life only if it has a soul, and second premise is living things exist. On the basis of these two premises, we can conclude that therefore soul exists. This was an argument which was formulated to explain the existence of soul, but we cannot say that it is a valid argument. Means its premises are not yet well verified, or means they are not experimentally verified. Okay, so as you all know that when we are studying philosophy, we can't be dogmatic. We have to look into the flaws of a certain theory as well. Up till now, we were studying the concept of soul, and now we are going to discuss the problems associated with this concept of soul. Means, as I have said, that it is not a completely a perfect argument. So now we are going to look into the problems which are associated with this concept of soul. The first problem is that science says that human beings are composed of, not only human beings, all living things are composed of basic unit of life, and this basic unit of life is called cell. And science thinks that cells are alive. Why? Because cells also show the basic life process of growth, reproduction, and nutrition. So we can say that cells are alive, and these cells are responsible for uh, are responsible to make up a whole organism, be it any human being or animals or plants. So now, given that we are claiming that cells are alive, and we have also claimed that anything is alive only if it has soul. Now we have to answer this question, that if something is alive only if it has a soul, and cells are alive, then cells should have soul also. But no one is present time is ready to accept this thing that cells have soul. And if that is the case, human beings and all the living things we see have millions and millions of souls in them, each for a cell. But no one is ready to accept this. And if we say that all these millions and millions of souls make up the soul of a human being, even that explanation is not acceptable by ancient people as well. Another problem associated with this concept of soul is that uh, science questions this, that how something non-physical is supposed to cause physical things to happen in a physical thing. Mean, how can we explain that something non-physical is causing us to do what we are doing? What is the relation between that physical thing and the non-physical thing called soul? These are the two main problems or the questions that are raised on the concept of soul. But we know that in philosophy we cannot abandon a theory even if it's inadequate unless we have a better theory to explain that. Means until we have a better theory to explain the concept of explain the life, we cannot abandon this theory of the concept of soul. So I am going to end my topic with this question, that whether we have a purely physical theory that can do a better job of explaining life than the theory of soul can. Means, is there any scientific theory that can explain the concept of that life and that better than the concept of the soul. That was all my topic.